All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Thursday, January 16th, and we have a 5-game slate to dive into, break down. Again, only 5 games, so we can really take that extra step, really dig into the nitty-gritty here, and maybe find some players that might be able to exploit some defensive schemes, maybe some defensive schemes that might really slow some players down, maybe some guys that are going to shoot a whole bunch of threes against certain teams, rebounding spots, all those different things. We're going to be looking into each and every one of those. Coming off an 11-game slate, we're going to be breaking down how we did in yesterday's video. Then we're going to talk about the back-to-back teams. There's only 2 of them today. Always just want to give you guys that information. Just be wary of anyone that might be sitting in this one or something just because of a back-to-back, i.e. Kawhi Leonard's not playing tomorrow because he played tonight. And then we'll also break down the injury news from some other teams, game time decisions, guys that might be out, and how that might help you. So if you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Leave the video a like, comment something down below. It always tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more when you guys go ahead and do that. And of course, it helps me. I enjoy reading all the comments. I respond to every comment. So any questions you have, I'll be answering those down below. And of course, if you have an idea of someone that you really like today, throw in the comments down below for other people to read, and maybe it will give me an idea to bet on someone that I might have missed. So let's hop into the recap of yesterday, then we'll talk about some injury news, and then we'll get into some plays. All right, so jumping into the recap here, we see some green, we see some red. It was more of like a mediocre day, 50-50 day, but 2 of our greens were plus money plays. If you don't know, I'm a parlay bettor. I came from a state that only allowed parlay betting, DFS sites and things like that. And now I'm in a state that does allow straight betting. And I know a lot of people that watch this content are probably just straight bettors. So using that to, appease to a wider audience is definitely fun. And we can definitely find some good value in these plus money plays when guys really have good matchups that I think they can exploit. And we saw that with our plus money plays today. So more green than red, mediocre day overall. But let's just really quickly jump into each and every play here. So Jason Tatum over 8.5 rebounds. He cashed that pretty easily because he had 8 rebounds at halftime. He ended up getting 9 very early in the third quarter, and then he had 9 pretty much until the end of the fourth quarter. So he made me sweat the double-double, but ends up getting there in the end. And then Steph Curry was next play, 25.5 points. This actually ended at like 24.5, closed at 24.5, 23.5 even sometimes I could have seen. But he continues to go over this against Minnesota. He played really, really well to start the game and then close the game to give them that 1-point victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. RJ Barrett over 10.5 rebounds and assists. That was a really good read. He crushed that line. It goes hand in hand with one of our losses here at Scotty Barnes at 7.5 rebounds. I told you don't play him in the same slip. It doesn't make sense to take 2 guys on the same team for rebounding, especially because we had Tatum rebounding as well. But Scotty didn't rebound well at all, but he didn't need to because RJ was kind of doing the damage there. Devin Vassell over 2.5 3-pointers made. Great matchup here for him to shoot some threes against Memphis. He did that. I think he ended with 3, might end with 4, but I know he cashed it. Again, plus 116. We'll take that any day of the week. And then Victor Wembanyama, also a guy that we thought could be shooting the lights out. He did cash his 3-pointers line, a little bit juiced there, but did get over there with 3 threes. But he didn't shoot very well on the entire night. Did not score very well. He had more blocks at halftime than points. So his points line didn't come through for us, but his threes did. Now into some more badness here. Jaren Jackson Jr. over his 2.5 assists. He didn't get there. He ended with 2 assists. This was really just strictly a hit rate play. He had been assisting really, really well lately, and I thought he had a good spot to maybe get 3 assists tonight, but wasn't too super confident about this one. Had to throw it in there just because the hit rate looked so good, but he hooks there with 2. Zach Edey is public enemy number 1 for me today. I thought this read was going to be awesome. Doesn't me coming on here talking about how good my read was for his 7.5 points. I didn't see anyone else on the play. I thought it was awesome. He had 6 points with 10 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first quarter. That's not a typo. In the first quarter, in the first 1 minute and a half, he had 6 points, and I was jumping with joy. I thought he was going to crush this line. I was going to look like a genius. No, he ends up ending with 6 points, 17 minutes played, and Memphis goes on a huge run to win that game, and Zach Edey was not part of it. So good read in the first minute and a half, but that's not what we bet on there. Scotty Barnes, we already talked about, he didn't get there for us. And then Amin Thompson, our last miss here, 24.5 points and rebounds. He ends with 11 points and 9 rebounds. Jokic ended up being a late scratch in that game, so definitely changes the game a little bit. Maybe they're not as prone to isolation scoring and things like that, where Amin Thompson thrives. Who's to say if he hits that, if Jokic plays or not, but in the end, going to be an X there for us. We were profitable in the Discord. We had a nice 6X over on Underdog here with some first quarter plays. And I still do play PrizePicks and everything like that. I do focus my PrizePicks slips more so on lines that other books don't have. First half fantasy score, you see here dunk line, you see here first quarter assists. Some of these weird plays that I think PrizePicks still gives us a lot of good value, and they're fun plays to bet on, but they just don't have the best lines in terms of like points lines and things like that. You can typically find some better value elsewhere on some other platforms. So PrizePicks and Underdog, if you're watching this because of that, We still do those things over here for sure in the Discord community. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to appease to more people, get more people, utilizing this video to people even straight betting, people on PrizePicks, whatever it might be. Hopefully you get something out of it. So again, more green check marks than red. That's always a good thing. Mediocre day overall. I'm not, jumping with joy over this one, but good to have some plus money plays in there for us. Jumping over to some NBA lineup news, back-to-back situations and any sort of injuries. We have two teams on a back-to-back. Houston Rockets is the first one. They're a young team. Amon Thompson, Jalen Green, Sengun, those guys are all young. They should be ready to go. Fred VanVleet, kind of the old man in the crew there, so maybe something to keep an eye on. Torrey Eason is going to be a game-time decision. Damari Smith Jr. probably still out with that broken hands. Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi is going to be out. He's going to be resting on this back-to-back, so that's something to consider for sure. And then any other injuries to note here, Indiana Pacers, game-time decisions for Halliburton and Aaron Nesmith, so that's going to be a tough one to kind of read without those guys. Huge bumps for guys like Siakam in there without Halliburton, like usage-wise. Ben Mathurin is out with a suspension tomorrow, so also a good thing to note there because he's been getting up a lot of shots. Detroit Pistons, Jaden Ivey continues to be out, so just keep that in mind. Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal is doubtful in this one, so that's interesting. And then their center rotation, Yusuf Nurkic is out. They also just traded for Nick Richards. I doubt he plays tomorrow, but if he does, he could be a good spot. They eventually want to start him. He's a good young center coming over from Charlotte. You never know if Plumlee's going to play 30 minutes or 10 minutes, so tough to go to a guy on the center rotation there for the Suns. But knowing Bradley Beal's doubtful could be an extra boost for some other guys on this team. The Wizards, Malcolm Brogdon continues to be out. Nothing too crazy there. The Thunder, Chet Holmgren's out and Isaiah Hartenstein's out, so that's interesting. He's considered week to week or something with some sort of strain, but they're going up against the Cavs. This is the matchup we all wanted to see. Kind of unfortunate that Hartenstein's going to be out of this one. They get killed down low anyway. We saw Jared Allen have a monster game, Evan Mobley have a monster game against them last time, but we could be seeing even more of that with really no center down there other than Jay Will, who's only about 6'9". So they'll be playing small ball. Definitely interested in Mobley and Jared Allen's lines for that one. Portland Trailblazers, Denny Advia, doubtful. Jeremy Grant out. Klingan out. Rob Williams out. They're dealing with a whole bunch of injuries, so guys have been playing well. We just saw Scoot Henderson drop 39 points. Is he going to keep that going? Or a guy like Shaedon Sharpe, who's been a little bit more consistent, maybe some looks there. And then for the Sacramento Kings, Malik Monk, probable. He missed the last few games, but he should be good to go. So nothing too crazy in terms of injuries. There's been a ton of injuries so far this year, but any sort of, if that helps at all, hopefully it does. And I always like to point that out before we get into the breakdown of the plays. All right, so jumping into the first play of the video, this one really looks better and better as I look farther and farther into it, but it's Malik Beasley over his 16.5 points against the Indiana Pacers. Now you can see Malik Beasley's been scoring really well lately. 5 of the last 6 games he's gone over this pretty easily as well. And now he gets the Pacers to allow a decent amount of points, 21st ranked in terms of allowing points overall. So liking to see that. The big thing here is Jaden Ivey is going to continue to be out with that broken fibula. In games without Jaden Ivey, he gets 3 more shots per game, and he's over in 8 of 10 games. Now, what happened in these 2 games? The volume was still there. He just shot 31% and 10%. So if Malik Beasley's in a situation where he's knocking down his shots, I think he's really going to crush this line. So I'm not only just looking at this because Jaden Ivey's out. It looks good. The research could stop there, but I dug a little bit deeper, and it just keeps looking better and better. So here's the real nitty-gritty here. The Pacers defend the above the break 3 well. 52% of shots for Malik Beasley come from above the break 3s. Right off the bat, you're like, that doesn't look really well. Well, it does and it doesn't, because they defend the above the break 3s well, guys that are creating their own shots, but they don't defend spot up shooters well. So guys that are getting into positions where they're catching and shooting, they're ranked 26th in those aspects, and that's where Malik Beasley shoots a lot of his shots. So yes, they come from above the break, but he's getting set up from guys like Cade Cunningham and things, and really just catching and shooting. That's where the Indiana Pacers don't defend as well. If that's a little bit more confusing, you can think about the corner 3s. No one's really creating their shot and then shooting corner 3s. The Pacers defend the above the break 3 well, but they don't defend the corner 3s well. That's also where Malik Beasley shoots a lot of his shots. Yes, a lot are above the break 3s, but a lot are also in the corner. 21% of his shots are from the corner. The Pacers do not allow or not defend the corner 3s well at all. So that's kind of another way to think about it. But we go farther in this. He is expected to make more than 3.5 threes. His line's at 3.5, and it's heavily juiced on the over. I guess I was looking at his points, but it's heavily juiced on the over. Minus 156, minus 140, minus 160 on Caesars. The books are saying we're more likely to think that he's going to get 4 threes than 3 threes here. In games that he's hit 4 threes, he's over this in 22 of 24 games from for a 91.7% hit rate. So if he's in these situations where he's getting spot up looks, which I think he will against the Pacers, whether it's in the corner, whether it's in the mid-range, whether it is above the break here, he's in a really good spot here. 22 of 24 games, making at least 4 threes, which the books are saying he'll probably make 4 threes. That's an awesome hit rate to look into. The other last thing I'll point out in this one, similar players to guys like Malik Beasley. Now, I'm thinking of players like Max Strus. He just scored 13 points against them. He had a line of 8.5. Grayson Allen had 13 points against them on a 9.5 line. We saw Lou Dort go for 13 points on a 10.5 line. We saw Buddy Hield go for 13 points on a 10.5 line as well. So a lot of players that play similarly to Malik Beasley, guys that are getting in positions, not creating their own shots, they're getting in positions, Cade's, dribbling all around and finding an open Malik Beasley to shoot these shots in. The guys that are like that are playing pretty well against them. So that's why I like Malik Beasley. Yes, Jaden Ivey's out. It looks awesome right off the bat, just looking at this graph, but even looking a little bit deeper, this just looks better and better. So if that was confusing, to kind of break it down and sum it all up, the Pacers rank 26th in terms of defense to spot-up shooters. Malik Beasley shoots or gets 34% of his points from spot-up situations. 21% of his shots also come from corner threes, where the Pacers are also weak. Jaden Ivey's out of this game. The books think he's going to score at least or hit at least 4 3-pointers. That's where they're leaning towards, at least. In games he's hit 4 3-pointers or more. He's over this in 22 of 24 of those games. Even if you drop it down to 3 3-pointers, he's gone over in that in 79% of games. So really, really liking Malik Beasley here. Would not be surprised at all if this bumps up a little bit more and more. You could be looking at his threes, but it's going to be juiced. I like the points in this situation for Malik Beasley going up against Indiana. And then if he's not knocking down the shots, I think he'll at least be getting the shots. So if you're someone, again, on like PrizePicks or Underdog or any other DFS platform and they have field goals attempted or 3-pointers attempted, that could be something to take the over on too if you're like, I don't trust Malik Beasley to shoot pretty well. But I think the stats are kind of speaking for themselves here, as you can see. All right, so moving into the next play here, it's going to be Evan Mobley over 21.5 points and assists going up against the centerless Oklahoma City Thunder. If you don't know, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned the fact that Isaiah Hartenstein is also going to miss this game on top of Chet Holmgren. So they'll have Jalen Williams, Jay Will, the bigger Jay Will, come in and start at the center position. He's got a 6'9" frame. He's not the biggest guy in the world. There's definitely going to be a size advantage for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But at the same time, don't count OKC out. They got a bunch of smaller guys, shorter guys that play a whole lot bigger. Lou Dort, J-Dub, Caruso's back into this one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander himself, he's a 6'6" guy. So they got a bunch of players that are versatile and can play a lot bigger than their size might say. At the same time, though, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are going to be the biggest guys on the floor by far. Now, why do I like Evan Mobley over Jared Allen? I was back and forth for sure. I just like the fact that I think Evan Mobley stays on the floor a little bit longer. I've seen, a lot more games where Jared Allen plays 25 minutes or less, as opposed to Evan Mobley usually getting to that 30 mark, especially in the last 20 games. So he's been a little bit more consistent here. You see a whole lot of green, 60% hit rate over the last 20 games. And if this thing stays close, it's a 2.5-point spread in favor of the home team here in OKC, even with their size disadvantage. And if this one stays close, we just saw them, go up against each other, and he had a monster game, if I can find that head-to-head. He had a monster game, 21 points and 7 assists, which is why I'm including the assists here. I'll go a little bit more into that in a second here, but he had a good game, 21 and 7 in 35 minutes, which I do like to see. So I'll quickly show the minutes, and then I'll get into the real nitty-gritty of this one. In games he's seeing at least 35 minutes this season, even 34, 33, you start to see that go up. This is going to be playoff-like atmosphere. The Thunder got taken advantage of last time. They lost that game against the Cavs. They're going to want to get it back. This is going to be kind of playoff-like atmosphere. If Evan Mobley gets, 33, 34, 35 minutes, you can see the hit rate just go up and up and up. He's very consistent, and I think he's got a pretty good matchup here, again, because he's got so much size against him. Now, the thing here, why am I including the assists? You can see the assists go up as the minutes go up, just like anything else. But the Thunder are also a team that make adjustments. We saw that Jared Allen specifically and Mobley were dominating them down low in the first half of the last game they played against each other on January 8th. Now, the Thunder like to make adjustments, and when they start swarming those big men, we saw Jared Allen and Evan Mobley really start racking up those assists. They had Mobley had 7 assists, Jared Allen had 6 assists. So I like the assist potential here on top of the scoring potential with him on the court a whole bunch, I think, tonight. I think this is a really good spot for a guy like Evan Mobley. And again, trusting him just because I think he's a little bit more consistent here. So Mobley, I think he's going to have a pretty good scoring output today. He's been scoring the ball really well. He's going to have a huge size advantage. And if they do start swarming him, those assists could start piling up. So really liking Evan Mobley here, 21.5 points and assists. Now, I will point out, A lot of books at 22.5, but DraftKings is at 21.5 at minus 125, and then Bet365 actually is the best odds. So if you're in a state that allows that, minus 115 on the over. Oh, they actually bumped it. Never mind. It was at 21.5 at 115, but looks like DraftKings is the move here. 21.5 for a minus 125 on the over. If it goes to 22.5, I still like it there, to be totally honest. And then to totally wrap this one up, we've seen guards struggle against the Thunder. They have the best guard defense in the league. You know, Donovan Mitchell couldn't do anything in the first half. The last matchup they had going on, I expect him to have a little bit better of a game here, kind of going into the Lions Den in the Thunder Stadium now. But the big man definitely have more of a scoring opportunity if the guards struggle to score. And yes, Mobley's lines are a little bit inflated, but I think for good reason here. And then moving into the last play of the video, again, it's only a small 5-game slate, couple teams on a back-to-back. I'm sure there'll be more value out there tomorrow, some guys to attack once we know a little bit more. But for right now, just going to go over 3 picks. Don't want to start forcing things. And the play is going to be Tyus Jones at 5.5 assists. Yes, I know that is scary right off the bat. Trust me, I tried to get to Booker. I tried to get to Durant. I think their lines are just a little bit too high, especially the fact that they're 10.5-point favorites. In games they've won by 10 plus, neither of them have a very good hit rate. They haven't won many games by 10 plus, but I just didn't like what I was seeing there. So I landed on Tyus Jones. Definitely look out for Ryan Dunn, who's been playing really well. Definitely look out for Grayson Allen. I just like Tyus Jones in this matchup. Maybe I'm reading into a little bit more storylines, but the fact that he's playing the Wizards, who are the worst defensive rating team in the entire league, allowing points, they allow a total bunch of assists. It's also the team he played for last year, so this is kind of like a revenge game for Tyus Jones, who might be a little bit frustrated in his role as his minutes start to diminish a little bit here. But the main reason here is the fact that Bradley Beal is getting a doubtful tag. It's showing up as game time decision, but again, we talked about the fact that he is doubtful tomorrow, not questionable, doubtful. So that's kind of a big thing here. If he doesn't play, we can see that the hit rate for Tyus Jones goes way, way up to 8 of the last 10 games, 80% hit rate, averaging 8.2 assists in those games. Yes, again, his role has kind of changed, but without Bradley Beal, they're going to need another guard to set everyone up. And this is a good matchup for him. Again, his old team. So really like what I'm seeing here. The other thing I'll point out, the fact that Nick Richards probably won't play in this one, but if he does, he's the new acquisition. He just came over from the Hornets. They traded for him yesterday. If he does, he's another big man you can throw lobs to and things like that. So that's good to see. And then also the fact that Booker and Durant are going to be active in this one. We've seen 5 games with Booker and Durant active without Beal, and he's gone over in 4 of those 5 games. He's averaging 8.4 assists in those contests, and the big thing here is that they've won all of these games. So maybe they'll find a little bit here. They've been struggling. They've been hovering around 500. Their defense is horrible. Their offense isn't much better, to be totally honest, but yeah, maybe they find something with Bradley Beal out of this lineup, and hopefully Tyus Jones getting everyone set up for some good shots. So Tyus Jones, not my favorite pick in the world, but smaller slate, definitely one that I'm liking. I will say I like the other 2 probably a little bit better, but I do think this is a good value spot for a guy like Tyus Jones, especially considering we can get minus 110 right now on FanDuel for the over here, so which is pretty good return there on a play that's looking pretty good without Bradley Beal in the lineup. And because I have the stats already pulled up, the fact that this is a horrible defensive rating team and the Wizards are dead last in teams of the bottom 5 defensive ratings in the league so far this year. That includes the Jazz, the Blazers, the Pelicans, and the Nets. That's the teams that he's played so far. He's played 7 games against teams that have bad defensive ratings. He's gone over in 6 games and he's averaged 7.4 assists. So another data point there. So that will do it for this one. We're going to go over a recap of the 3 plays in just a second. But if you made it this far, definitely go ahead and leave the video a like. Comment something down below. I always read all those comments, but it also tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. If you're interested in any of the tools I was using, like the Outlier, this has a free trial. If you use my link in the description down below, it tells them that I sent you there, but you also get that free week trial. There's also a free week trial for OddsJam, which is right here. It's an awesome tool that shows market value, and the RotoWire projection model, which I didn't show off today. This is another one right here. So all those tools are going to have perks when you sign up using my links or codes. I appreciate everyone that does that. I also have a Discord community where you're going to get access to all of my plays. When you do want to get in there, you can sign up using the description down below. It's a step-by-step process. There are plenty of different ways to get in for free. Signing up for Dabble, for Underdog, for Betr, for PrizePicks, Parlay Play, you'll see all of them down there. They all have some sort of perk for using my code. And again, I appreciate anyone that does that. And I just want to continue to grow this community. If you use my code, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the free part of the Discord so I can get you that free month of access. You can get up to like 8 months of free access to the Discord. And it is a whole lot of fun. And we've had a whole bunch of success. I showed it yesterday, but I think we're up like 40 units in the month of January so far. So I know a lot of people are struggling in January, but we've been chipping away and been really profitable so far. So that will do it for this one. Here's a little quick recap of what we talked about about in this one. Malik Beasley over 16.5 points, Evan Mobley over 21.5 points and assists, and then Tyus Jones over 5.5 assists. I like the first two a little bit better than Tyus Jones, just because you're rolling a dice on a guy that hasn't been hitting this line recently. But again, Bradley Beal has been a big caveat for this one if he doesn't play, which again, he has that doubtful tag. So that will do it for this one. Again, going to be making more plays throughout the day tomorrow. That's what we do in the Discord community. So again, if you want access to the Discord community, the links are in the description down below. Good luck with all your bets. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you are new. Like the video, comment all these good things, and that will do it for me. Peace out. I've literally hated this light the entire video, so I'm going to pinch it.